Hello, my beautiful souls. My name is Nicole, and I'm here to help you reconnect with your light. This week, I felt called to talk about the fact that we are actually living in a world of false freedoms. And what does that mean? It means many, many things. First of all, what does the word freedom mean? I feel like today we live in a world where words have become extremely limiting. We speak words, but when we speak to people, these words may ultimately mean completely different things to different people, already putting us in a form of miscommunication because we haven't taken the time to define what it is that we're talking about. So, what do I mean when I say we're living in a world of false freedoms? Well, what I mean is just that. Are we really free? We believe that we have free will, and yes, we do, but how free really is that will? How free really are we to be who we choose to be? How free are we to express ourselves most authentically? So I want to take it back a few steps here and really question, what is the purpose of life? And well, these are questions that have been asked for millennia. Many, many, many people have moved through this world questioning, why are we here? Where did we come from? What is the purpose of our existence? And whilst I'm not claiming to have the answers to all these questions, I've spent many years questioning these same questions. And in the research and all the experiences that I've had since beginning that journey of trying to understand these questions and finding answers to these questions, the answers that have come to me as well, as we all know, maybe some of us don't, that we are soul beings having a human experience. We are soul beings having a physical experience. And what does that mean? Well, again, it means that as souls, we are literally, when we are in soul form, we are in energetic form. And when we are in soul form and in energetic form, it means that we are literally connected to everything and nothing at the same time. Why is it that we choose to come down to earth? Well, now this brings in the topic of reincarnation, and some of us believe in reincarnation, some of us doesn't, and that's okay. Everybody's belief is different because we're all seeking our individual truth. So I believe in reincarnation, and I believe that we choose to be reincarnated on earth. Our soul chooses to come here to be reincarnated. Why? Because earth is literally the school for the soul. Earth is the place where we can experience duality. And what do I mean by duality? It means the fact that we can experience being separate from everything else. It means that we can express ourselves individually because we can feel separate from others. We can make decisions that are individual to ourselves and not necessarily to the whole collective. So we choose to come here because our soul needs to expand, our soul needs to grow, our soul needs to evolve. And just think of it this way. When you go to university or you go to school, we learn a lot of information. But the thing is, that information doesn't really stay with us until we apply it practically. And so that is exactly what this experience of being a human is we come here to experience things in practical form so that our soul can remember all this knowledge. So when we're out there floating in the universe, doing all of our individual soul type things, what happens is we acquire a lot of knowledge, but that knowledge doesn't become wisdom until we apply it for ourselves. So we come here to experience the spectrum of human emotions. We can read about emotions, but until we've actively felt them, we don't really know what that means. Until we've interacted with human beings and other souls in a limited fashion, then we can't really experience our greatness or our limitations in that sense. And so I truly believe that each and every one of us is a different physical, is a unique, should I say, physical manifestation of the universe, of God. And I don't like to use the word God sometimes because it's a very loaded word and many people have a lot of feelings and emotions around this word. But let's just say in this case that when I talk about God, I'm referring to the creator of the universe. We didn't appear out of nowhere, and these are the questions that we are trying to understand is where did we appear from? And there are many, many, many people out there who have been trying to find these same answers and have found many different responses, but ultimately we don't know. But we do know that we have lived many, 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 many lives before, whether it be here on this planet or on other planets. And that might sound a little bit crazy to some of you, but I please ask that you bear with me a little bit and just keep an open mind, because can we really believe that we are the only ones in the entire universe when the universe is so vast? So we come here to learn, we come here to evolve, we come here to grow. But now the question is, or should I say the problem is, that we are living in a world of false freedoms. We come here to express our uniqueness because each and every one of us is unique. And the purpose of our life is to remember who we truly are at the soul level and to embody that version of us in human form. Because once we start doing this, we see the world in a whole other way. And we have far more abilities than we give ourselves credit for. And the thing is, we don't believe in our superpowers because of the narrative and everything that has been pushed and the way we've been educated and just the way society has evolved over time. We don't believe that we have magical abilities. And for example, let's go back a few years when witches were burnt at the stake. And basically, witches was just a name that was given to women who were in touch with nature, who used natural ways of healing, but they were termed witches because they didn't comply to the general narrative in society. And obviously we know that women have been oppressed for a very, very long time. And why is that? Because women, or should I say feminine energy, but now it's important to understand that there is a difference between feminine energy and feminine gender. Feminine energy is about creation. And the best example to show that is women literally give life. And I'm not saying that we don't need the man in order for there to be life, but women are the ones who create life, because life grows inside of our wombs. And because women have a far higher sense of intuition than men, we are directly tapped into the cosmos, because we are able to intuitively pull upon knowledge that perhaps is not even from this lifetime, but is knowledge that we are carrying forward from past lifetimes. So, as we come here to Earth, we come here to express our unique beingness. But it seems that in the world that we are living in today, and the world that we have been living in for many, 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 many centuries at this point, is a world in which you can only exist, or should I say we can only exist, if we comply to a certain narrative, if we fit into a certain box, because anything that doesn't fit into that box is deemed wrong. Because as human beings, we are deeply, deeply afraid of change. And we have been taught to fear the unknown, because anything that is unknown is automatically termed bad, which is not at all the case. Think about all the different unique beings. Had Einstein not decided to go down this path and allow people to think him crazy, we wouldn't have found the answers, big answers that we had been looking for many, many years. So the thing is, the more we try and comply with society, the more we try and fit in, the less we are actually in line with our path, because our path is truly to sing from the rooftops and shout loudly about all of our unique, weird, strange traits. But at the end of the day, they're only termed weird and strange because they're different. But there is value in our uniqueness, there is value in our difference, because it is in truly expressing our uniqueness that we can give pieces of the puzzles to those around us. How do you know that if you are not experiencing your own individual unique trait, how do you know that you might not have the answer to somebody who's writing a great big book, somebody who's writing a book that may change the world, and just because of one sentence that you said that went against the natural narrative of things was what gave that person the ability to finish their book? So we don't know what secrets we hold for those around us. And remember, whilst we are individual beings, we are part of a collective. But the more that we express our uniqueness, the more the collective begins to grow. So it's important to understand that we truly are living in a world of false freedoms. It appears that we have the freedom to do certain things, and I think that this is even more present and true at this moment since the start of the pandemic, because we are being told, for example, we have to wear masks to keep each other safe. But really, one doesn't need to be an astrophysicist to realize that wearing the mask is actually worsening our immune system. Think about it this way, very simply. What is it that gives us life? Our breath. And if we can't breathe properly, it means that not enough oxygen and not enough oxygenated blood is reaching every single part of our body. If we cannot breathe correctly and oxygenated blood is not moving throughout all of our body, how can we possibly be in good health? How can we possibly make sure our immune system is in a state of strength in order to fight against anything that's hanging around in this world? But the thing is, we don't question, because we have been pushed and educated and manipulated and whatever other word you want to use, pushed into believing that we have to abide by the rules. But whose rules? Who said that something, and I'm struggling to find my words here, but to take it back a little bit is, who said these are all social contracts that were brought into existence years and years and years ago that we still abide by, but it doesn't make them right. And just because every single person in the world does something doesn't make it right. But the problem is, we are fearful of questioning the narrative, because anybody who questions the narrative is termed a conspiracy theorist, or is termed to be an anti-vaxxer in this case, or to be termed to not be caring about the well-being of our fellow people. But that is not true, because I can tell you, beautiful souls, that it is in questioning what we are told that we begin to see the truth. And remember, there is no one universal truth, at least not in my opinion. The thing is, we each have our own individual truths, and the thing is, the version of the truth changes because we are constantly evolving. We as human beings are constantly changing. So I guess what I'm really trying to push across here is that, are we really free? Are we really free to live the life that we wish? We're told that we are free, but when I look around us in the world today, I see that many of our freedoms are being taken away from us. Best example is the mass censoring that is happening on the internet at this moment. And the thing is, you might not be aware of it, but people who I have been following for years are suddenly being taken off of YouTube. People who were talking about the sky, people who were talking about the radiation coming from the sun, their channels and their websites are being taken down. Doctors who are speaking up, who are saying that they don't agree with the World Health Organization, are being taken down. So my question is, are we really free? And especially now, it feels like, I don't know if you guys see this as well, but for many, many years, when I've been observing the situation in the world around us, it seems like the world is becoming a darker and darker place. And well, that is true to some extent. There is a lot of darkness out there, and I feel that since the beginning of the pandemic, this darkness has been brought to light more and more. And it's not that there is more darkness than there was before. It's simply that we're more aware of it, because as we were all forced to go into lockdown and take some time to really just observe the situation of the world around us, I think many of us started to notice that there were some pretty dark things going on in the world. And have we been completely disconnected from them? Because when we look at all the movies around us, I mean, movies today are so violent, and what is that doing to our children? What is this constant being in touch with information, being in touch with technology on a constant basis? What is this doing to us, really? There is more and more scientific research that is being done into trying to understand the long-term effects of all of these things, but do we really know? I think it's safe to say that we don't know, and it's important to be mindful of whatever it is that we are engaging in. And so I know this has been a lot to think about, but really my question is, beautiful souls, are you free? And what does freedom mean to you? Because being free doesn't mean complying to society, because if we're complying to society, are you really free? No, you're complying and limiting yourself to what society thinks and believes. And I think now more than ever, it is important to ask ourselves, what does freedom mean to us? And how can we obtain this freedom? Because, for example, we might have the freedom to be educated, but whoever it is that creates these curriculums are only allowing ourselves to learn a certain number of things. There is a lot of esoteric, ancient knowledge that has been hidden from us. What if we want to learn that knowledge? For example, using things like psychedelics, which has been made illegal by the government. How is it that a government who doesn't really have our best interest at heart, how do they have the power to tell us what we can and cannot put into our body? Is that really freedom? The fact that, for example, suicide is illegal. Why do people sell guns if we don't have the freedom to put an end to our lives? And not that I'm actively saying that people should be committing suicide, not at all, but some people, if they decide to go to that point, it is because they cannot anymore feel that they want to be present in this life. But yet it is some government that tells us, no, you cannot do that. So really, where is the freedom? And I'm sorry if some of these points are a little bit triggering, sorry. I'm just trying to make a point here as to, is freedom really ours? Are we really free to pick and choose what it is that we want? When it comes to the food that we eat, unless we're actively farming our own food, do we really have the freedom? I mean, for example, toothpaste. Look at the packaging of toothpaste. We have no other options as to packaging of toothpaste. And so are we really free? No, we're only free to comply with the restrictions that are placed upon us by the corporations that seem to be ruling the world today. So I urge you to question, beautiful souls, what does freedom mean? And are we truly free to express our unique beingness, to live a life of freedom? Or are we being restricted everywhere that we look? But because it's been the narrative for so long, it appears free, but it is simply false freedom, because we think we're free, but truly we're still trapped within a cage. So I'm going to end this video here, but I hope that this video brings you some new seeds of thought, helps you to look for freedom, and helps you to define freedom, and helps you to find the power inside of you to follow your freedom. I send you so much love and light, and I wish you all a beautiful day. Thank you so much.